The almighty potato or potato almighty. Your choice today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook today, where our theme is the almighty potato or potato almighty. Your choice, doesn't really matter. But I have to tell you, as a child growing up in southwestern Ontario, being Irish and English, not a day went by where we did not have potatoes in our house, where they were scalloped, mashed, boiled with parsley. You know why? Potatoes go great with cream, or any cream derivative, whether it be cheese or butter. They just kind of go together. But before we start talking about the menu, actually, let's go over the menu right now. Today we're going to be making some potato croquettes. Great use for leftover mashed potatoes. Then we're doing a potato crab cake. You don't want to miss that. Then we're going to make an open-faced ratatouille potato sandwich. Before we get started on cooking, though, we need to talk about potatoes. There are basically three classifications of potatoes. Not big, small, or red, because I have that assortment right here. We have potatoes that are low in starch and high in moisture, i.e., your red bliss potato here, okay, these creamy white potatoes here. These are great for boiling. They're great for salads, and they're also good for things like home fries and so forth. And they'll also bake up well, but they're not going to come in as flaky as if you were to use a russet or an Idaho potato. Idaho potatoes are low moisture and high starch. Then we have the all-purpose potato right here, which is moderate starch and moderate moisture, and they're good baked. And they're also good boiled. They can go either way. They're good in fricassees, good in stews. But these potatoes right here, for instance, if you were to bake these, they're going to give you a nice crunchy skin, but you'll never get the flakiness that you get from a russet or an Idaho. And the russets or the Idahos are also great for frying because of the high starch, low moisture content. Then you have special potatoes that you're now going to find in the market, like this one right here. This is a purple Peruvian. You can see the purple Peruvian. Why? Because it's purple all the way through the potato. Now, see this here? Red bliss potato or a red potato. You see this potato here? Same potato, only this one got a little bigger. As a matter of fact, I'm going to really confuse you now because all potatoes start out as boilers or chefs, which means that they're high in moisture and low in starch. As they get a little bit older, they get rid of that moisture, develop the starch. Now, there are also some health benefits to potatoes. One, potatoes are fat-free and cholesterol-free. They're low in sodium, loaded with potassium, which is great for our cardiovascular health. They're also a very important source of complex carbohydrates, which is where we get our energy from. So if you're feeling, maybe that's why French fries are so popular. It's also a great source of vitamin C. In fact, potatoes are one of the leading sources of vitamin C in our diet. And vitamin C, we know, is so important because it's such a great antioxidant, and it produces collagen that also helps bone tissue. Collagen, bone tissue, bones and tissue kind of work together. They go together well. Potatoes are also rich in vitamin B6 and minerals. Finally, potatoes are an excellent source of fiber with the skin on. I love potatoes. As a matter of fact, one of my greatest memories is taking an all-purpose potato, baking it off like this, eating it out, putting a slab of butter in there, and eating it like a sandwich. We're going to take a little break, but then when we come back, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious potato croquette. It's Potatoes Almighty today on Let's Cook. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook and the Potato Almighty. Now we're going to make some basically mashed potatoes, but we're going to make them into a potato croquette. So what I've done here is I've boiled off some potatoes. Now, when you're boiling potatoes, one of the few vegetables that you can actually start in cold water and bring it up. And then what you need to do with the potatoes is you need to cut them so they're about this size. And then this is a little bit hot here, but you see how the potato crumbles nicely there? We need to make sure if the potato's too wet or you cut it too small, absorbs too much moisture and it won't work. Now, the next thing that ends up happening is, have you ever been to somebody's house and they have the mashed potatoes and they're kind of like kind of like stick to the top of your mouth. They're a little too sticky. That's because they probably used a, one of those blenders, the handheld blenders, and they just brought out too much starch of the potatoes. So we use a ricer. You see these in the store all the time. See how nice that sits on a bowl so you can load the potatoes in there? Then we can go with the, if you want to have more of a commercial look, we have a ricer right here. And all I'm going to do with the potatoes now is just rice them. So we take our potatoes and you put them through the ricer. And what the ricer is going to do is it's going to puree the potatoes without bringing out too much of the starch. So we just take our potatoes and you force them through the ricer like that. You won't have any lumps this way, and you're going to have great potatoes. And then I'm just going to whip these by hand. So I take my potatoes, put them in here. Now the other ingredients that are going into potatoes here is I'm going to use, of course, some salt and pepper. I'm going to use some egg yolks and some melted butter. So my potatoes are now nicely riced right here. That's good to go. So we have that right here. Take this over here. Put that on the side. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of melted butter. How much? A little bit more the better, but I don't need too much because why? Because I'm going to refrigerate these, and if they're too loose or too soft, they won't hold the shape for the croquette. Then to this amount here, I'll put in, to enrich it, 1, 2, 3 egg yolks. A little bit of salt here. And a little bit of pepper. So we just get a little pepper right in there. Good. We'll mix this up really well. Now it should be very, very smooth. Okay. See how nice and smooth this is? Now, if I wanted to, I could pipe these out and rebake them in the oven and make Duchess potatoes. This is actually referred to as an appareil duchesse, or Duchess potatoes. Appareil in classic cuisine meaning it's dry. Now I'm going to use a pastry bag right here with a plain tip. So I have my plain tip right here. To fill this, I take the pastry bag and I make a C or just this form with my hand. I'm going to show you how we do this right here. I have my form here, drop the pastry bag on there, have it hang on my hand. Then I take the potatoes and I just go across my 4 fingers that are right here, and this way my pastry bag stays nice and clean. Next, you're going to take this and you're going to close it up. When you close it up this way, get rid of any of that air, and just bring it till you start to see potato coming out. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to pipe these out so that they can firm up or hold their shape. So do it on parchment paper. I already have some done right here, but I'll show you how you pipe these out as well. When you go to pipe these out, this hand is your guiding hand. Underneath, this hand here, the hand that I'm holding the bag with, is my squeezing hand. I come this way, I go like this, and I could even stop them like there, almost like I'm doing an eclair. Or if I want to, I can go a full length like this and just bring it all the way down. See? Stopping here. Notice when I hold the pastry bag here, I'm about the same height as the width of the pastry bag mouth, or the pastry tip mouth. So I'm coming like this, squeezing motion, stop. Now, once you refrigerate them, they look like this. Then with my knife, I can just take, or anything, I can take them this way and see how nice they cut. Now, you all know that if you've had mashed potatoes in a refrigerator, this is what they end up looking like. We then take these, we're going to take them, go like this and just roll them. Give them a nice round form like this. Dredge them in a little bit of flour here. The potatoes get really nice and firm. Then I have a little bit of egg wash here. I then take the egg wash and put my potatoes in the egg wash. Now you have to work relatively quickly here, but these are cold enough that they're going to be just fine. So I take them this way, I shake off all the excess flour. Then I also have some fresh breadcrumbs here. So what I'm going to do is I have one hand that's going to be wet and one hand here that's going to be dry. I'll take this, making sure it's nice and wet, dry hand here, into my fresh breadcrumbs, dip it this way, drop it into the oil. They only take about 2 minutes to really brown up because remember, everything here is cooked. So let me get some more of these frying up here, just till they're golden brown, about 3 minutes. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we're making a potato crab cake. It's Potato Almighty, or the Almighty Potato today. Your choice. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the Potato Almighty today on Let's Cook Now, or the Almighty Potato, whichever way you want to call it. Now, the most important thing is that we're doing a potato crab cake. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make my crab cake mix. So right over here I have some beautiful lump crab meat. To this now I'm going to put in a little bit of mustard. I'm also going to spice it up, a little bit of cayenne pepper there. We have some parsley. I have some finely diced or brunoise of red pepper here that were sauteed. I'm going to also use just a little bit of mayonnaise in this. So we'll just add some mayonnaise to this, and it's almost like we're making tuna fish. However, you know when you make tuna fish at home, you want it really smooth? We want this to be really lumpy. Little bit of salt in here. A little bit of pepper in here too. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just mix this together just till it comes together. When it's about halfway done here now, and I see how wet it is, I'm going to add just a little bit of fresh breadcrumb. That means that it's bread, real bread that was just made with flour, salt, water, and yeast, and 1 egg. We now mix this together. And now if you're making this and you'd like to make this ahead and you want it to really firm up at home, go ahead and do that. So we just mix this together just till it comes together this way. Doesn't it look beautiful? It really does. Okay, listen, I'm so excited about this. Okay, now we need to make our potato mix for our potato pancake. Now this mix we're going to make, you can use this mix for just a potato pancake, but we can also use it to crust our crab cake. So, what kind of potato am I holding here? This potato, here's a quiz for you. This potato happens to be very high in starch and low in moisture, which means it falls into the, I heard you, russet, Baker, Idaho family. So you see what, it's a little hard to do it into the bowl here, but you can see I'm doing it very fine here. Let me just move the bowl here, and I'm just going to take the mandolin here, and I'm just going to cut a little bit of potato right here for the bottom here. Now, I'm not going to put this potato back in water, because if I put this potato back in water here, what'll end up happening is I'll dilute the starch, and the potato's not going to work. So, along with the potato there, just going to use a regular grater right here. We're going to grate a little bit of onion too. Just a little bit of onion there. Perfect. Then I'll take this, I'll put it back in my bowl right here. Going to add a little bit of parsley to this. And just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon of parsley, not even. Then some pepper. And a little bit of salt. Now the flour that I put in here, you really don't have to, but see, it's just going to help hold it together. It's just going to pick up that extra moisture. Now, what I've done in the pan here is I've heated the pan, and I have 2 ring molds in here. All I'm going to do with my potato now, because I have some oil in there, is I take the potato and I drop it into the ring mold here. Then with this spoon, you take and you kind of spread this nice and evenly like that, just so it's covering the bottom. And I'll do this in both locations right here. Beautiful. And then we just press this in. Then we take our crab mix right here, just enough to go about 2/3 of the way through. So I have my crab mix there. I have my crab mix here. Doesn't that look good? And then take this, press this down this way. See how nice that looks? Doesn't that look great? Now remember, everything in the crab except for the egg is cooked, so it has to cook all the way through. But these potatoes are cooking on low heat. They're going to brown up too. Now I just need a little bit more potato here to do the top of it. So let me just take it again. When you're working with one of these mandolins, be very careful, and you have to do this potato to order. If you tried to do this potato ahead of time and put it in water, it's not going to work. We're getting a real nice pure flavor here. A little bit of this like this. Beautiful. Take our potato. God, I'm into this beautiful thing today, aren't I? A little bit more potato right here. Okay. Now, you'll notice I'm not using too much potato here. I'm just using enough to really cover the top of this and press it in to the crab meat. But it's still just on the surface. Remember, not too much mayonnaise in the crab meat at all. Now, additionally, right here, I'm just going to start to heat this pan here because I have to get something else going here. And again, it has to do with my potato cake. So I'm just going to, again, a little bit more potato here. You'll notice I'm not doing too much of this potato ahead, am I? There we go. And thank God. You'll notice, I just noticed here, Puck is right here, the name Puck. That's not the inventor of this tool. His name is, Puck has been working on my show since the very first show 9 seasons ago. His real name is Anyuchi Puck Won Wheat Di Wheat. Aha! Not easily said, but he has this great mandolin here, and this does it very fine. And these are relatively inexpensive in the store, so all I'm going to do with this now is take this, mix it with the rest of my ingredients here. I want less onion in this. Just does need a little salt. Needs a little bit of pepper. Less green on this one because this potato cake that I'm making right now, I'm going to use for ratatouille, as a base for ratatouille. A little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan here. Then we're just going to take our potato, start it right in the middle here, and just using a spoon because you don't want to burn yourself, I'm just going to spread this out. I'm also going to put a little bit of butter just on the side of this so it really browns up nicely and gets a nice butter flavor. So we're going to let this cook as well. I'm going to come over here now, see if our crab cakes are ready to flip. I believe they are. See how they came loose like that? Now we just take them like this, turn them over that way. Then I'm going to get these in the oven. So let me turn this one over. I'm going to get my potato crab cakes in the oven. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we are making a really easy, simple ratatouille potato sandwich. Open face, that is, on Potato Almighty. Today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the Almighty Potato today on Let's Cook. Now we have our potato cake, or a potato base, which I'm going to flip now here. This is for to go with our ratatouille. So we just turn that over. Doesn't that look great? Okay, beautiful. So we're just going to let that cook. Now the next thing that we're making is a ratatouille. I have the ingredients right here for the ratatouille. Basically, onions, garlic, celery, eggplant, red pepper, zucchini, yellow squash, tomatoes, with a little bit of thyme, a little bit of basil. Very simple. Now, what I've done right here is I've taken all of these vegetables and just sauteed them individually. So I have, see my yellow squash here, see my zucchini right here, individually sauteed. I'm going to take this now, pop this right into the pan here. Then along with that, I'm going to add my tomatoes and my onions, celery, and garlic. I sauteed them all individually so that they would not overcook. Just bring this up to a simmer, season it with a little bit of salt here, a little bit of pepper. Then we add a little bit of thyme to this and a little bit of basil. Now the basil and the thyme should go in at the very end. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to chiffonade this basil nice and thin here. So that's good to go. This all gets mixed together here, and all we do is bring this up to a simmer so we really have some nice flavors going on there. Nice different texture. So my ratatouille is almost good to go, and my potato cake's almost good to go. Now the other thing with the potatoes, when they're fried or sauteed or pan fried like that, you sometimes need to salt them afterwards. Now here we have our potato crab cakes that we have right here. And I'm going to go ahead and get one out of here now. You can see, look, beautiful, nice and golden brown on each side, cooked all the way through. Then we're just going to release this right here. Again, it's going to be very hot, but it's going to be gorgeous throughout. See how that comes right off? Just take this now, cut it in half. There we are. And now right here, I have just a little bit of horseradish cream sauce that you can serve with on this. Then we'll take this, put this right here, put this right here. I only have about a half a minute left to finish the show. Now I would take my potato cake right here, pat it dry on a towel, put this right here, then take a little bit of the ratatouille right here, right on top, and finish that right there. So we have an open face ratatouille potato cake sandwich. The potato is very good for you. It's definitely from God Almighty. Thanks for watching Let's Cook. We'll see you. Bye-bye for now.